Mary, could you really be in this town?
Welcome to MojoPlays and boo! Did I get you? Damn it, you're probably unshakable after years of horror experiences, but let's think back to when horror still gave us goosebumps with one of the most underappreciated eras for horror. These are the 20 best 2000s horror games. Let's go.
Before we continue, we publish content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos.
Haunting Ground. Haunting Ground is one of those rare cases where a spiritual successor doesn't just live in the shadow of the original, it kicks down the door, takes the castle keys, and makes itself a home. Acting as a follow-up to the Clock Towers series, the game sticks to the formula of a terrified young woman trapped in a creepy castle. The twist? This time you've got Huey, a dog who's basically Lassie if Lassie was into biting way more. Huey listens to commands, fetches items, harasses enemies, and even accepts belly rubs like a true good boy. American McGee's Alice. American McGee's Alice is good. So goddamn good. It takes the whimsical tea-sipping world of Wonderland and dunks it into a vat of gothic horror. Instead of cuddly white rabbits, you get unsettling nightmare creatures that look like they flunked out of art school in Silent Hill. The story flips Lewis Carroll's classic on its head, giving Alice a twisted, psychological edge as she battles her trauma and some seriously ugly bosses. It's equal parts eerie atmosphere, inventive level design, and dark humor. Basically, it's Wonderland if Tim Burton stole your diary. Resident Evil Code Veronica. Resident Evil Code Veronica is a fan favorite because it mixes the old school survival horror elements of the original trilogy with a bigger, more cinematic punch. Claire and Chris Redfield take center stage in a story that feels like peak soap opera drama, if your soap opera also had mutant twins, giant bugs, and a suspicious number of keys. The jump to full 3D environments meant the camera could finally stalk you like an unpaid intern, ratcheting up the tension compared to earlier fixed backdrops. Classic puzzles, limited ammo panic, and that eerie atmosphere all return, while villains Alfred and Alexia Ashford crank up the creepy gothic theater vibes. F.E.A.R.
She's afraid of you.
If you want a game about a squad trained to deal with paranormal nonsense, Ghostbusters is your thing. But there's also F.E.A.R. Think Ghostbusters with way more assault rifles. If there's one game that nailed the shooter but make it spooky formula, it's F.E.A.R. Its premise feels a lot like Remedy's Control, where government suits poke at supernatural events instead of filing paperwork. Add in slow-mo bullet time lifted straight from Max Payne, and suddenly you're dodging bullets like Neo and getting scared like Neo if he was a little bitch. For its era, F.E.A.R. was ridiculously advanced with sharp AI, tight gunplay, and the perfect amount of psychological horror. Clive Barker's Undying. Clive Barker may be best known for birthing Pinhead and enough twisted novels to rival Stephen King, but his nightmares also crawled into gaming. I was lucky enough to experience this 2001 classic 2 years ago in 2023, and its fluid FPS combat and terrifying creature designs still hold up. Set just after World War I, you play as Patrick Galloway, a war veteran roped into fighting occult curses and demonic squatters. Honestly, it's the only game where you question what's scarier, the monsters or Clive Barker. Manhunt.
These streets are being patrolled by gangs. They're scum, just like you. And they're here to hunt you down and cut you up.
Manhunt throws you into a snuff film nightmare that feels like America's Got Talent, but you're showing off your gunning abilities. You creep through trashed alleys and abandoned buildings, sneaking up on enemies to deliver kills so savage they'd make even Jason Voorhees say, just tone it down, buddy. Weapons? Whatever's lying around. Plastic bags, shards of glass, crowbars. It's this murder improv that makes the gameplay so damn engaging, as full on as it is. The longer you wait to strike, the bloodier the execution and the higher your score. It's murder, but with a scoring system. Yay. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem.
What sorcery is this? A spell? I am bewitched. If this was meant for Charlemagne, then what will become of him? I have to warn him of this treachery.
I'm going to peel back the curtain a little here. When I was researching this list, I came across this game, and as one of the only entries I hadn't played, I was compelled by what I saw, and I had to go play it. I'm 3 hours in, and I'm loving it. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem takes a concept you'd see in Supermassive's horror games, switching characters to experience the story from multiple perspectives, and cranks that idea up to 11. Well, technically 12. Through 12 separate characters scattered across different eras and places, all linked through the Tome of Eternal Darkness, a book bound in human flesh, you experience a story that is constantly engaging, especially in the first 3 hours. Dead Rising.
Oh, damn it!
The 2000s were a hectic era for Capcom. Not only were they churning out Resident Evil titles like a survival horror factory, but they also launched a whole new zombie playground with Dead Rising. Unlike RE, Dead Rising leans into pure chaos, focusing on gameplay over story. It does this by throwing hundreds of zombies onto the screen and arming you with whatever the hell is on the ground. Nothing says apocalypse like duct taping a chainsaw to a kayak paddle. Siren. Would you like to play a PlayStation exclusive horror title from the same mind that birthed Silent Hill? Let me answer that for you. Yes, please. Siren dropped in 2003 and plunged players into the cursed Japanese village of Hanuda. Its locals aren't very welcoming, mostly because they're dead. And trust me, dead people aren't that friendly. The narrative unfolds through 10 different character perspectives, all jumbled out of order like a horror anthology told by Neil Druckmann. The misty setting and eerie tone recalls Silent Hill, but the combat feels fresh. Oh, and the game's big twist mechanic? Sight jacking, which lets you see through enemies' eyes. This is what makes the game feel fun to play, even today.
Do you see yourself?
The Suffering.
At least when you escort an inmate to death row, you know he's scheduled to get what he deserves.
Ernesto, you can really be a jackass. You know that?
But you hear what this one did?
I don't want to know. And you know
He
when
beat his ex-wife to a bloody pulp. Killed her with his fists.
I hate to do 2 Stephen King references in one video, but it's a horror list, so I gotta. And there might be a third reference later on. Imagine if Stephen King's The Green Mile got mashed with a Serbian film, and you've got The Suffering. You play as Torque, a death row inmate sentenced to meet old Sparky for murdering his wife and kids, a crime he conveniently can't remember. Just when things couldn't get worse, an earthquake rocks the prison, unleashing grotesque, brilliantly designed monsters that look like your nightmares had nightmares. The combat is tense, the atmosphere is oppressive, and you can even switch between third-person and first-person views, adding a nice touch for player preference. Obscure.
Mr. Garrison, lock the gates and send the latecomers to my office. Yes, take advantage of the sunshine while it lasts.
Inspired by early 2000s teen horror flicks, Obscure is like Resident Evil went to high school. Every time I include this game in a best-of horror list, somebody gets upset. This made me wonder if I had rose-tinted glasses about this whole experience, as it's one of my favorite games of all time, so I looked it up, but people love this game. I'm not crazy. While it doesn't offer branching dialogue or big moral choices, it still feels full. But the biggest draw, start to finish cooperative gameplay. You'd think a fluid fixed camera game wouldn't work in co-op, but it totally does.
Mr. Walden, what are you doing here?
Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. The Fatal Frame series shook up survival horror by saying, who needs guns and chainsaws when you have a camera? Every click is a hit on the vengeful spirits trying to turn you into ghost chow. It might sound like Ghost Photography 101, but it's a brilliantly tense way to rack up scares. Since these apparitions often blend into the background, zooming in suddenly forces their grotesque faces into your personal space, an incredibly scary, ghostly photobomb. The haunted village in Fatal Frame 2 makes the atmosphere so creepy, and it remains creepy right up until the final moments. Condemned Criminal Origins. Monolith didn't even take a coffee break after F.E.A.R, dropping Condemned Criminal Origins just months later, a gritty FPS psychological thriller that swaps ghostly scares for some good old-fashioned human terror. Here, it's all about physics-based melee combat, using whatever's lying around or occasionally borrowing a baseball bat without asking. You play an FBI agent in the Serial Crimes Unit, hunting a serial killer who frames you for a double cop homicide. Now it's a desperate dash to prove your innocence while getting the absolute plop scared out of you. Dino Crisis 2. Dino Crisis 2 is often credited as the best Dino Crisis game. It turned the series from slow burn survival horror into a full-on arcade dino blasting spree. Forget tiptoeing through dark labs. In the second game, you're mowing down swarms of dinosaurs with explosive weapons and racking up combos like it's Jurassic Dance Dance Revolution. The lush jungle setting replaced the sterile labs of the first game, giving you a gorgeous yet deadly playground where every raptor feels terrifying. With everything from tiny raptors to giant aquatic beasts, the encounters stay unpredictable, and the punchy soundtrack keeps your adrenaline way up. Left 4 Dead 2.
Serious? No! Can you lower the bridge?
Sorry, can't.
Okay, then, yes, we are vampires. All of us are vampires.
Lewis, I told you there were vampires.
No, they're not, Francis.
Left 4 Dead 2 is brilliant because it turns zombie apocalypse chaos into a cooperative laugh-out-loud shoot-fest. Grab some friends, and it's rare to find a more enjoyable cooperative experience. You and your friends barrel through hordes of the undead, from shambling common infected to terrifying special zombies, all while screaming at each other to watch my six. The dynamic AI director keeps every run unpredictable, so no two campaigns are ever the same. Sometimes it even feels like the game is trolling you. It's the only place where throwing a smoker into a pit and high-fiving your buddy is considered strategy.
Everybody grab a weapon.
Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth.
Ah, from the stench in here, this noose broad must have kicked it a few months back.
Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth, published by good old Bethesda, is an old reliable for horror experiences. It never fails. This FPS survival horror drops you into familiar Lovecraftian locales. You play a 1920s private investigator trying to solve a missing persons case. Tell me why the FBI couldn't handle this one though. The Sanity system spices things up. Hallucinations, panic attacks, and vertigo make you question whether the monsters are real or just a side effect of 1920s Coca-Cola.
Trust me, I'm good with strange.
That remains to be seen, but I can help you.
BioShock. In 2007, BioShock plunged gamers into the eerie, sunken playground of rapture and gave us an experience that most gamers still haven't forgotten. Alongside Dead Space, it cemented itself as a landmark FPS with slick combat, unforgettable set pieces, and the unforgettable terror of Big Daddies. You arrive in this watery nightmare overrun by murderous splicers, juggling, harvesting souls from unsettling little sisters, and hoping to not get on Big Daddy's bad side. Luckily, you've got a killer arsenal and spooky atom-powered abilities. It's the perfect balance of great gameplay and great story. Dead Space.
Air seems to be flowing again. That's a start.
What the hell was that?
Automatic quarantine must have tripped when the filtration system restarted. Everybody relax.
What was that? Did you...
Not sure.
The hell? I don't know. Something's in the room with us.
One of my favorite horror games of all time is Dead Space, and it's also one of my favorite video game remakes. Dead Space blasted onto the scene as one of the most brutal and terrifying sci-fi survival horrors ever. Creepy sound design, dimly lit hallways, and grotesque necromorphs make outer space feel like a haunted house with 0 exit signs. Immersion hits next level status because there's no HUD cluttering the screen. Your health is part of your suit, and ammo shows up as a hologram when you aim. It's truly one of the most genius game designs of all time, and nobody else is doing it. Still, in 2025. Unless I get proven wrong in the comments, in which case, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Isaac Clarke stays silent throughout, letting the monsters do all the talking, which is probably for the best, because who wants to hear someone complain about getting their head ripped off? Resident Evil 4.
Freeze! I said freeze!
The 2000s were a wild ride for Resident Evil, with a remake of the original, 2 mainline sequels, a prequel, and enough spin-offs to rival Kingdom Hearts. Resident Evil 4 still stands out as the game that flipped the series on its head, swapping fixed camera angles for the over-the-shoulder perspective. This gave players a fresh view of Leon S. Kennedy's bullet-spraying adventures, and established the game as not only one of the best 2000s horror games, but one of the best games of all time. The 2023 remake is also fantastic, but let's be honest, nothing beats the original's accidental, campy comedy and iconic stop-and-aim gameplay.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Silent Hill 2.
Mary, could you really be in this town?
No shock here, Silent Hill 2 easily takes the crown as one of the best horror games of the 2000s, and one of the best horror games of all time. Konami was firing on all cylinders with the series, but this entry stands out with its gripping story and atmospheric mix of psychological and supernatural terror. It's almost too good, to the point where it's hard to enjoy because it's so well rated, especially if you're a pessimist. The town of Silent Hill isn't just creepy, it feeds on your guilt and trauma, turning your inner demons into literal hideous monsters. You play as James Sunderland, a grieving husband summoned by mysterious instructions from his late wife, only to be greeted by horrors at every corner. And then there's Pyramid Head. Oh god. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos.